want to know how you end up in boarding school. Like, let me tell you something. All I know is that, damn it, should ask about boarding school. But, no, how did you end up in boarding school? Because what do you mean you got adopted, you moved to a fancy country, fancy lifestyle, like adventurous people. What do you do?
Why would you think what did I do?
What am I? A Bahamian baby girl? It will never be the other people. It will always be you. What do you do?
No.
It's a Caribbean thing. What do you do to the people?
I didn't do anything. Well, I got sick is what I did.
You get sick of this shit?
I got sick. So the first school that I went to was in England. It was out in the countryside. It was really beautiful, really nice place, like really old staircases and things like that. And of course, having never been in a cold country before, when winter hit, my body just like had a whole reaction. So part of it was, so back then we had discipline in school, and especially like a fancy boarding school in England. So we had to get up every morning at 10 to 7 in your t-shirt and shorts. Literally snow, sleet, rain, whatever, it didn't matter what was happening. And you had to run around the building 3 times for your morning wake up. So it was quite strict. It was very regimented.
Sound like a military.
Yeah, it was very much like that. And I guess just being out in that cold and, you know, still doing PE outside and stuff, my body just, I got very sick and I ended up getting a bad ear infection. And at the time, my parents weren't available because they traveled. And this is where when I talk about a child for a kitten, or if you hear me say like checkbook generosity, I honestly don't think they really wanted to have a child. I think my stepfather was trying to make my stepmom happy.
Oh.
She was in her late 20s, early 30s, and she wanted to settle down. And I think he kind of convinced her, talked her into like, well, you know, this will be easier. She's already 11. You know, we're not going to go through the whole thing with a baby. You know, we can bring her there. We'll give her a tutor, send her off to boarding school, and we'll still be able to like dress her up and play doll with her. But I really honestly just unfortunately, and that's just my take on it. I don't think it was really something. Not to say that they didn't grow. I didn't grow on them down the road.
Right.
But I think in the beginning, I don't think, you know, as you do sometimes in life, you know, you make these decisions, but you can't really see the future and what was going to happen. So I got very sick. Anyway, long story. I got very sick, and I ended up in hospital, and it was pretty bad. They were nowhere to be found. Well, when they were found, they were like miles away. I think they were in Singapore or something ridiculous. So it was like hours and hours for them to get there. So they had to call in on somebody who worked for them to come and, you know, check on me and make sure everything was okay. So the decision was made then, because nobody really in England was permanent. They were always traveling. They'd send me to Switzerland, which is where their head office was, and there was a lady there who was actually my stepfather's ex-wife. But I always...
Your adopted dad, because you know you got a family.
Yeah. My English adopted dad's ex-wife. So she ran the office in Switzerland, and I would go there. If there was an emergency, she would be in Switzerland. It's like, you know, it would be an hour or so away. Right. So that was how the whole thing of going to boarding school in Switzerland came about, which was an experience in itself.
They thought you was white because you like skinned it, and they thought the coat was gonna be just fine. Yeah. And somehow your body was like, nah, I'm too tropical for this. So.
Yeah, it went into shock. But you know, not only my body, like I went through a lot in my mind as well. I remember the very first winter, I'd never seen all the leaves fall off of trees. And we lived on the river, right on the River Thames, and like all the soot is on the trees and stuff. And I remember one morning I just woke up and I looked out the window, and when I looked across the river, like there was just black trees, like the trunks and the stems of trees, and this dirty brown river going by. And you know, you look out the window here, it's like blue water, everything's leafy and green. So I kind of went into shock, and I ended up in a corner freaking out about the world had come to an end. You had
panic attack about your surroundings.
I was sure the world had come to an end. Like, it was really hard. Nobody prepared me for it. I had no idea. And I guess as a child, you don't see things, you know, for what it is. Like, it's more like an instant. And for me, I just woke up, opened up the blind, it was just like, whoa, what's going on? Why is it like this? Like, it was gray, like something you'd see in some Alfred Hitchcock movie.
I was gonna say, did you not watch enough TV to see these happening?
I didn't have TV growing up, so I wouldn't have been able to know all these things like that. So yeah, it was kind of weird. That was one of the instances, and then I like just a different language altogether. I remember they took me shopping for clothes, and they told me I had to wear trainers because in England tennis shoes are called trainers, and I melted down and decided I was going to show them that I didn't need training shoes. I knew how to walk. I don't know. So that was a whole breakdown inside of probably Harrods store or something. Yeah. So little weird things like you can't envision that. You didn't know it was gonna happen, but in my mind, all sorts of crazy things that went on. Not knowing, like moving stairs, escalators.
Oh gosh.
Yeah. It's like, why are the stairs moving?
See that shit black side.
The trains. I hadn't been on a train. So yeah, it was pretty amazing to when I first moved there. It just kind of was an overload of so many things. I remember sitting at the dining room table and having to be taught how to eat properly, how to speak properly, how to walk properly. So I guess basically what I'm saying for the first, 6-8 months, like they just recreated this whole new person.
I was gonna say they didn't want to have it from the baby form straight to the 11-year-old. They just wanted to, and somehow you just thought they could.
Yeah. So lots of tutoring, lots of yeah.
How long did it take for you to pick up on it though?
Never. I still never really picked up on it. Still do my own thing.
That's the right answer. That's actually the right answer. You like.
Yeah, but I think in answer to that question, I learned a lot of things that if I need them, hopefully out there in the storage somewhere to use. I would say that like with table manners with kids, you want to teach them, and then they can choose if they want to use them or not, depending on the company they're in. So I think that's basically what I would say. There was a huge learning curve, and one of my greatest tools, you talked about watching movies, was the movie My Fair Lady. I literally could recite that movie word for word. If you've never watched it, go and watch it. It's a very cool movie with Julie Andrews and Rex Harrison. Yeah, it's a black and white. I mean, they did redo it in color. They did redo it in color. It's a musical. It's amazing, and it was basically how I felt. That story was just basically a lady selling flowers in the streets in London, and this guy brought her into his house to teach her how to speak properly. And it was the same thing I was going through. So
is this romantic?
Yeah, it was. Because she turned into a princess, and it was pretty beautiful.
Always gotta go on back to. Why?
Yeah. So after that, I went off to boarding school in Switzerland. Yeah, after the whole sickness thing. Yeah.
So how was boarding school?
Boarding school, thinking about it, because I was thinking, we talked about boarding school, like how would I describe it? So I went to boarding school when I was
running outside
12, I guess I started.
Tank tops and
11 and a half, 12. And the first one, not so much. I didn't really ever settle in there because I was only there for 3 months. But the second one was there, 5 or 6 years. And it was like what I imagine going off to college is like for an 18, 19-year-old. Because basically you are in a big shared house with lots of other girls, sharing rooms. I was fortunate, my school had boys and girls, so we got to hang out with boys and play sports and do things, and you kind of had your own schedule, and it worked for me because having already been kind of independent, I could kind of do stuff. I didn't have to. And then every Friday, Saturdays and Wednesdays we were allowed to go out. So yeah, sometimes it was good, sometimes it ended not so good.
What did you do for it not ending not so good? How old were you again? 12, 13?
So, yeah. So one of the reasons I don't drink Malibu, I ended up.
You was an alcoholic from young.
Oh, my mommy was giving me gin for my teeth, where I was like,
That's a remedy, that
So yeah. But yeah, we'd get to go out. We'd go to the Chinese or sneak into Geneva from McDonald's. Catch the train when we weren't supposed to. So kind of what kids do nowadays, mostly.
Oh, you mean the thing that most of our parents try to kill us for? Like they never did that?
Yeah. But it was pretty amazing place to go. Switzerland was incredible. It was cold, but the school is one of the best schools in the world. incredible teachers, and the campus was just nothing I'd ever seen, obviously, literally. And then in the winter, we went up into the mountains where we skied and did all sorts of fabulous things, like ice skating and stuff like that. So it was definitely.
Did you actually try the skiing?
Yes, I tried all the sports. That was probably the only thing I was really good at, because, but even by the time I went there, I really hadn't become a proper person, according to
So you was
the civilized.
adventurous.
Yeah, well, I mean, literally, my report card at the time, one of my teachers wrote, I had savage behavior. So.
Only could come from an English person.
Yeah, so I had it was a lot. It was a lot. I had to, I mean, literally learn how to talk. They couldn't understand me.
Okay, so based on that comment, do you feel like that is you being raised in Tulum, being like, I'm adventurous, I just do things in the spur of the moment, and you people are trying to teach me to be like, so, boys.
Yes.
Yeah.
It was, a lot of it was that I wasn't used to being confined. I mean, I wasn't used to half of the things they did. I mean, I'd never seen a pair of skis or snow or, I just wasn't used to it. People washing my clothes for me, literally, we put them in a basket and somebody would take them and bring them back folded. We would sit.
People with that?
We sat down to a dinner table where we were served dinner every day as if we were in a restaurant. I mean.
In the boarding school?
In the boarding school.
How do you keep track of your clothes?
Oh, we had to have names sewn into them. Everything had your name in them. Yeah. Yeah.
Your laundry do?
Everything. Yeah, everything. Mm-hmm. So, it was quite a shock to the system to go all of a sudden to these different places.
So you stayed there for 5-6 years, so that would have been like
you. Yeah, graduating high school. Yeah.
So whilst you were there, since your teacher was so bold to be like, you're savage, how was it interacting with the kids? Like bullying, fighting, girl drama, because what do you mean you're in a school with so much?
Yeah, I mean, I had some awesome friends there, amazing people that I met from all over the world, which was also fascinating. And thank goodness, I guess I was young, so I was able to absorb a lot quickly, as far as like understanding how different cultures were, because all of a sudden I was in a school with Muslims. I didn't even know what a Muslim was, and they do things differently. Like you had roommates, and some of them were great, some of them were not so much. but it was fun. We used to do pranks on people. They do pranks back on us, and it was a lot of fun. It was a really good time. It was just the structure, I think, that was a bit overwhelming for me because I just wasn't used to it. But yeah, girl drama, always. I mean, there was all sorts of drama. Teacher drama. We'd always be talking about, which teacher was seeing which teacher, or which student was seeing a teacher, or
that was in grown folks' business.
All up in it. But yeah, you were there, and you get a certain time during the day where you could make phone calls home, or people could call you. So it was very structured, and like I said, we were sitting to a dining room table with teachers at either end where we had to, we had a 3-course meal served to us. So coming from an island where, I was eating by candlelight and whatever I caught that day, it was really different.
No eating with your hand? No picking the food?
No, it wasn't picking food there. Yeah.
That sounds boring. The 3-course meal sounds great, though. It sounds great, but
yeah, it was pretty cool.
Did you ever get in any fight?
No.
The minute you say boarding school, we gotta think you're a troublemaker. So I'm no.
Oh no, it wasn't that I was a troublemaker. And I didn't get into fight. I mean, we used to get into arguments and things about turning your music down because the ones that wanted to study, and then there was the ones that didn't. So yeah.
Which side did you fit in?
Take a pick. Yeah. So sometimes, every time the report card came out, I was steady. I was on.
You was just like
halfway through the term.
Skim of your teeth. Yeah. Just making sure you just enough to pass by.
Yeah, pretty much.
So you never fully showed them your potential.
No, unfortunately, I did not. No, I was too busy having fun and hanging out with cool people like Sean Lennon and Diana Ross's kids, and I don't know.
You met real fancy people and you did?
Yeah, they were pretty cool. It was nice. They're very nice. They're very humble, very down to earth. wouldn't have thought. I mean, there were some people there that weren't, but
There's always
and
gonna be some of those.
picked on me because of the color of my skin, or I remember a group of girls picking on me because of the size of my butt going up the stairs.
They used to know thick. Sorry.
Yeah.
They used.
But it was an international school, so it wasn't so much about black and white, I guess, as much as like when you were different.
Just culture.
Yeah, just culture. So for me, I guess that was, they kind of accused me of being promiscuous and things like that, which I, at the time I was like, well, I don't know, it's just being me, from where I'd come from and where my culture was and whatever had happened in my life that brought me to that point. I think, one or two people have apologized since, that we've all gotten older. And, I know I have for some things that I did to being a prankster. One of the fun things I remember.
Because it was the worst prank you've done.
Well,
because you have to apologize as an adult.
Well, we used to like to glue people's slippers to the floor, and then they put their feet in it, and then they like fall over when they went to go get up.
And you're sure you'll never fight?
No. Well, we used to do some silly things, cover up the toilet seat with cling film, and I mean, in the middle of the night, this was the fun part about it.
You're supposed to be sleeping.
Yeah. Yeah, but it was a good time. It was good until it wasn't, and then it wasn't because my best friend, unfortunately at the time, had some mental health issues, and a couple of things had happened at school, and my stepfather was like, right, that's it, you're out. It's too spoiled. He didn't want me to be spoiled. He really wanted me to still have a foundation, and the things that we were doing, like I told you, going out and stuff like that, he was like, no, he moved me. So I ended up going to a boarding school back in England to do college.
Question. You said you were labeled as promiscuous. Elaborate.
So, as I said, when I was in my other life, living in the Bahamas and being in Freeport and being on the island, on the Key, I had a certain way about me. I carried myself older, and I guess due to experiences that I'd gone through, I wasn't shy, and in the end, when I look back and I try to figure out like why were they saying that and what, I realized it was because I had already been through molestation, I'd already been through physical abuse, I'd already been through verbal abuse, and then the shock of everything else I'd gone through. I'd already been molested when I was in Freeport. I was molested again when I got to Tulum. And so I guess those things that I'd gone through just made me carry myself differently. And also I'd experienced things that I guess other girls my age hadn't. And so when I was flirting with boys and doing things, I got labeled.
So you got molested between the ages of 2 and 11?
7 and 11, I would say. Yeah. So during my second family adoption, and basically, during that time, and then there was a lot of other things that went on, with alcohol being involved. I think sometimes cabin fever, even just being on that island, you get stuck. So there was a lot of trying times with that, and at the time I didn't know, because when you're abused, what does your abuser tell you? Don't tell anybody, they won't understand. Or they, shh, you can't tell anybody, it has to be our secret. I was a kid, I was 6, 7 years old, and grown physical men abusing me. And I didn't know to tell anybody. Later on in life, when it continued to happen, I did know, and I did tell them, and it's why I'm here today. Hopefully somebody else will, understand you got the strength in you to get through it, for however long it happens, that you can get through it, and don't let it hold you down, don't let it stop you. They're at fault. It takes a lot to get to that point, to realize that you didn't do anything wrong, that you know, they obviously have something that's not connected correctly.
Okay, that's sorry, I'm still processing it, which is why I'm like,
Yeah.
okay, you said also in life. So when you went to boarding school, was that because of what happened? You, I guess, continued, or like that happened again in boarding
Oh,
school?
no, I was never abused in boarding school. It was after when I left there, and I went to boarding school in England, and my second stepfather started abusing me when I was 13 until I was 19.
And nobody picked up on it. Sorry, I have so much.
No, that's probably another episode because
Yeah, it's
it's a
definitely
whole thing in itself. Yeah.
6 years.
Yeah.
You have to do the count.
Hmm.
And nobody picked up on it. And like,
He was very good at covering it up. He was very.
when did you know it was not acceptable?
It was a huge epiphany moment for me. I'll never forget it. I was in Cincinnati. Um, at the time, I was 19, and at this point, I'd been working with my stepfather, who was abusing me, um, from the age of 16. He took me out of school and was like, "Okay, don't want you to go to school anymore. I'm gonna teach you the walk of life. Like whatever you could learn in school, you could go back and do it. But the things that I'm gonna teach you about the world and business, you can't learn that in school." So I wasn't doing that great in school anyway. So yeah, he pulled me out of school and I started working with him. And I used to go up to Cincinnati and work in the office up there while he was in Florida, and sometimes we'd swap and sometimes we'd be in the office together. Anyway, this one family invited us over for dinner. It was our office manager, and she had two daughters of her own, and her husband had a daughter from his previous marriage, and they've just recently gotten together. And I remember sitting at the dining room table, and he was there with his daughters, and it was the way he held them. It was the way that he interacted with them. I just thought, whoa, my dad is not like that with me. He's supposed to be my dad. And then I realized, I was like, what's going on is wrong, and I have to get out. I have to find a way out. I mean, I never said anything to them that evening, you know, not to those people, but I remember walking away from there going, okay, that's it, I gotta fix it. And it just hit me, right? I didn't have a dad. I had a boyfriend or, you know, wasn't a dad, for sure.
So when that epiphany happened, what was like? Did you like try to create a plan in your mind? Like, I'm just not gonna be here anymore.
Oh, I knew exactly what to do. I knew exactly what to do. I called my stepfather's ex-wife, who I called my aunt, who was more like a mother than a mother.
Why do you and these aunts and mothers think you...
Yeah, good thing about aunties, hey. But no, I called her and I said to her, I need to see you. I've got to come and see you. And she was like, I said, I need a holiday, I need a vacation, and I'm going to come. She was in Switzerland. So I flew out there. She bought a ticket and everything and convinced my stepdad that, you know, for me to come. And when I got there, I told her, I said, this is what's been going on, and I got to get out, and I need your help. So she did, she helped me. She gave me the money for an apartment, and we came up with some story about I was going back to the school. I actually moved to Orlando. It was the first, I moved out and went there and was going to try and do some courses. Yeah, so yeah, she was there for me. She understood, she believed me. And, you know, that was, I don't think I'd ever really told anyone else before. I think, well, I didn't tell anybody, but people knew because there were certain things that took place where other people were involved, and they knew what was going on, but they never did anything. Like you said, well, how did they cover it up? I mean, he used to unruffle my sheets in my bed. He just, I don't know. and they just had me brainwashed. I didn't have anybody else. My stepmom and him had separated, and it was just me and him. He just isolated me basically. Who was I gonna say? What was I gonna do? I mean,
Well, I'm sorry that it took you so long to like reach out to your aunt, but it's in a sense so good that like the first person you spoke to about it, they were like, "Come, I'm getting out of there like ASAP."
yeah, yeah. She she was pretty amazing.
Once you moved to Orlando, did he ever try to reach out? Did he ever try to come find you? Like,
Yeah.
did you manage to get a hold of that grip and be able to never see him for a good while for you to catch yourself?
Yes, we saw each other because in the end he did help me move. Um, yeah, I had a credit card and a car, and he was paying my rent. Um, but I don't think I ever told him why I moved. He didn't know the real reason why. He, my aunt, his ex-wife, who kind of was very good at keeping him, um, yeah, at arm's length, but also like he listened to her, like he trusted her with his life. So, yeah, she was able to convince him that like that I needed to go off and go to school and I'd had enough doing this, whatever I was doing with him, learning and da 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 da. And I don't know, she was yeah. So um, he was instrumental in that.
And how did she take it? Like to understand that this is somebody she was with, and now that person is an abuser to not a child, specifically the child that we had. Like,
She was, yeah, she was angry. She was upset. She she she'd already had him at arm's length because I guess she had witnessed some of the abuse when he would drink and things like that as well. So I think she had already had it at arm's length, and I think you kind of know when you've experienced things, if a person is capable of something. You know what I mean? So I think inside of her having been with him and known him for so long, because they've known each other at this point 30, 40 years, you kind of know like this person is probably capable of whatever somebody's accusing them of. So I think that was one of the things for her that was easy to help, and that she was just that type of person too. If she could help, she would.
wow, okay, I have a lot to sleep on and process with all of this information. And you sure you don't want to be angry? Because you sure. Why would you decide not to be angry? Because me personally,
Because when I tried anger, it took me in a really ugly place. Um, yeah, when I went to Orlando and I had pure freedom then, I was already 19, my own apartment, my own thing, it just became so destructive. I was angry at everybody and everything because, I didn't have my real mom anymore. The step parents, whatever had happened with them, I didn't seem to be able to be stable anywhere. I'd been to boarding school in England, then I went to boarding school there, and funny, like just like you said, what did you do? Like I started to blame myself for everything, like, and so yeah, being angry wasn't the place I wanted to be. I found it much easier to be happy. I like being happy. I'm a happy person. I can let nobody steal my joy for their issues and their problems.
because right now I need to go process so much. So next week we're gonna figure out how this living arrangement in Orlando came, because you used to be in the Bahamas, nice simple life, and then you end up all the way to the fancy country trying to learn all these type of
Etiquette.
exquisite behaviors, and then you had to go back where you could be free again, and
Yeah.
but not before having to go through so much to be able to like now learn your own way.
Yes. Yes. That was it. All these inputs, and then that was me going my way.
Yeah, trying to find yourself without somebody else being in control.
Mm-hmm.
So I have a lot to go. Oh my god, my brain is like so processing.
Yeah.
From 13 to 19.
Yeah.
5 to, oh my gosh, 7 to 11.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know. some people are just given more to bear, I guess. So,
It's unfortunate.
yeah. But you know, is it unfortunate?
Yes.
Would I have been able to do the things I did? Like, there's a price to pay for everything in life.
And
that was my price. That was my burden to carry. And that's why doing this is so important. Because I'm sure it happened to me for a reason. I have no doubt. And I believe that reason is to be able to tell this story so that somebody else will get up and walk away, whether it's an abusive relationship or mental abuse or physical abuse or sexual abuse or whatever. You can find a way. You gotta find a way.
So why these things can happen to people in the daydream and make it feel real so that when they wake up the next day, they understood what the assignment was?
Some people don't get that assignment.
Oh, well, see?
Anyway, so till next week, Thursday.
Next week we'll be unpacking you moving from the fancy life back to a fun country, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Practice.
No, figuring your own identity on your own. Yeah.
Oh, that didn't happen then.
Oh God.
No, that was not that chapter. That was the exploring all of the identities I could possibly be at that point.
Okay.
Anything other than what I was, I wanted to try. Because, yeah.
So you're breaking out?
Yes.
Okay, so we're going to figure, next week it's more like, what level of breakout can I do within?
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. All right, well, folks, thanks so much for listening. Be inspired. Keep the faith.
I'm shocked.
Thanks, Keisha, for your time and interview. And
I will see you on Thursday.
See you next week, Thursday.
Bye guys.